the editor-in-chief of Life Zet, Fox News contributor. She's also a huge nationally syndicated radio show host. Laura Ingraham, how are you?
Great to see you.
Great to see you in New York once in a while.
I know. It's good to be here.
All right, the polls are pretty amazing. I think anybody that says they can predict with certainty how this ends in 54 days doesn't know what they're talking about. But there are real significant reasons Trump is up. I think he's made real strides in terms of taking risks. Louisiana, right. Mexico, black churches. He's going all around the country. He's got a really busy schedule. I think that's all contributed, staying on message, focused on Hillary and Obama.
I think we're seeing some of Donald Trump's heart, which is something that people needed to see. Everybody knows Trump's tough. He can throw punches. If someone hits him, he'll hit him back. He's not going to stand for America to be humiliated. He's going to be the law enforcer, rule of law guy. But he's showing more of his heart, and a little bit of humility every now and then is a good thing, too. I think that's brought some of the people back to the fold. Over the next 56 days, whatever it is, 57 days, he has to keep reassuring the country, doing exactly what he's doing. The speech today, the economic speech.
It's a good speech today.
Oh, phenomenal speech. Any conservative who watched that, and the never-Trumpers who are now just talking to themselves because they're becoming increasingly irrelevant, to watch that speech and to say, Trump's not a real conservative. I don't even know how you look at yourself in the mirror. I really don't after that speech.
I had Larry Kudlow on radio. Later we'll check in with Steve Moore. Yeah. Two really bright guys on the economy. I mean, this is Kennedy. This is Reagan-esque. Maybe with the exception of trade.
Right.
Fair?
Well, but although I think his trade, remember Ronald Reagan put those temporary tariffs on Harley-Davidson. George Bush put temporary tariffs on the steel imports coming in from China. So we have put tariffs on countries which are cheating under these international trade agreements. So
let me go back to the never-Trumpers, though. All right, so you got a president that will say radical Islam, one that won't.
Yeah.
You got the Supreme Court. Need I say more?
Yeah, no.
Health care.
That's everything.
Energy independence. Education
tax
back
reform.
To the states.
I mean,
taxes
what else?
Today.
Obamacare gone.
Building the military up.
Right, we have to do it. What's not conservative about any of that?
That's what I was going to ask you. What is not conservative about that agenda?
Well, I think people sometimes, and we all fall into this, have a little hard time. You admit
losing?
When you've lost or wrong or feel wounded or their pride, and pride cometh before the fall. Look, he has 88% of Republicans now supporting him. He has 70.
He needs 93.
He has 73%.
I'd be more comfortable for him for 93.
But I think you're seeing this change. When he is up 8 points today in Iowa, a state that Mitt Romney lost handily, and we see him up in Nevada. We see him now up in Florida and Ohio. Remember,
Colorado?
Florida and Ohio. We haven't seen a Republican win Florida and Ohio and not win the presidency before. Not in our lifetime.
Right.
I'm pretty sure not in our lifetime, and I don't remember the last time.
Yeah, listen, he's within 3 in a state like Wisconsin.
So the trend is up. Nate Silver's polls plus today now has him at 40.8% chance of winning.
Yesterday was 31.
And Sean, remember 3 weeks ago when I was on with you?
24.
It was like 21. Like, oh, it's a 1 in 5 chance.
By the way, he changes every day so he can say, I'm not wrong.
And it can swing right back in Hillary's favor. He does not have a strong debate performance. He starts being distracted by side issues, and the election can slip back away from him. But right now, it's a nice trajectory, but he has to build on it. Don't get overconfident. Don't get cocky. Continue to listen to the people. His listening is actually really powerful. It's nice to be listened to. People want to be listened to.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'd go out, and obviously people know I interview him. You have the same thing.
Yeah.
And they said, what was the one thing you'd always hear? Tell him we love him, but be quiet.
Yeah.
And he's not picking fights with Gold Star dads. He's not picking fights with a judge. He's now focused on Hillary and Obama. And also, he's given pretty deep policy speeches.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, these subparts, parts, referring to statutes, particular regulations are going to repeal. I don't know, again, in the last few elections, who has been more substantive on specific policy issues that the nation cares about, from the economy, immigration, trade, and even foreign policy. So that criticism is now out the window.
You made a really good comment. I actually quoted you on my radio show yesterday about an admonition, if you will, to the never irrelevant Trumper people. But what you said is pretty deep and profound in this way. If she gets elected president, she will be unchecked.
The imperial executive.
Yeah, explain that.
Well, Hillary will have she would have appointed all the prosecutors, all the agency heads, all the judges, appellate court, district court, and probably 3 Supreme Court justices, 2 or 3.
At least.
After that, who's going to stop Hillary? When Hillary Clinton decides that the Equal Protection Clause requires a minimum standard of living, a minimum standard of education, a minimum standard of You know, name your pick.
Well,
What does that mean?
Same thing with immigration, same thing with taxation, same thing with,
all of it.
With executive orders.
She will weaponize the government against the ordinary working class American.
That is really a profound reason right there.
Unchecked power. Trump will be checked by Paul Ryan. You know, Paul Ryan is going to check Trump. I roll by Mitch McConnell and by a court that will probably be still divided. So anyone who thinks, oh, Trump's going to do this and that, Trump's going to have a lot to deal with in Congress. A lot of doubters.
In terms of checks and balances.
Checks and balances. Hillary will be unchecked. What you do? How many people raise your hand if you think the government is under Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell is going to refuse to fund a Hillary Clinton budget and then shut the government down?
I mean, like they stopped Obama's agenda?
Yeah, they probably had a heart attack when Ted Cruz read Green Eggs and Ham that night. I mean, they were like having a meltdown, like, oh, it's embarrassing us. We're going to lose the midterm elections. Then what do? We won the midterm elections. So she will be unchucked, Sean,
last
and that's scary.
My admonition to Trump on the debates is this. I don't really think they need to fill his head with facts and figures, because I think he understands these issues. I think one of the benefits of giving these policy speeches is, hey, that's prep, if you will, for debate. Yeah. The thing that I'm worried about, I don't think Hillary can run on Obama's economic record, her economic record that she wants to follow in his footsteps, or on her foreign policy record. But I think she wants to prove to the country he doesn't have the temperament to be president, so I suspect she's going to jab and poke and prod and try and irritate, agitate, hurt, upset his feelings, and make him bubble and fizz like Alka-Seltzer and water.
Right, Sean, you know what she's going to do? Let's say he starts to interrupt her. Yeah. Donald, I know you're used to interrupting and cutting women off. That's not going to happen here. Cool. Applause in the audience, you know. So he's got to be careful, but he can't be timid. He has to be respectful. Remember, Reagan always, when he delivered a punch, he always gave a hug at the same time, a punch and a hug. So a little wistfulness, you know, Reagan said, there you go again. Yeah. And it was that smile and that knowing glance. And sometimes saying nothing is really powerful, and just looking at the person.
Do you think he will have the impenetrable shield where she can't get to him? He seems to be very relaxed now on the campaign trail, very at ease, very in his zone.
I think he's getting used to not having to respond to every criticism, and that's hard. He's not a politician. He's kind of a street fighter. He's really smart, but he's used to punching back. Sometimes holding back is the strongest position to take.
Yeah, I think
he's learning that. No, you punch back. That's why. You know, this is why we've been successful at what we've done. Yeah. But sometimes it's better to hold back a little bit and let her talk. She has no record. And just attacking him on personal grounds, which she'll do, that kind of proves our point, doesn't it?
Well said. Laura Ingraham,
great to see you, Sean.
All right, thank you.